Imagine a software system, right? A system so precise and honestly so ruthless that if you try to save a little money by booking an Airbnb instead of, say, a mandated $250 a night tournament hotel.
Right, the approves hotel.
Exactly, the approved one. If you try to bypass that, your 10-year-old child is immediately flagged by an algorithm. They are literally banned from the field and forced to sit on the bench.
Which is just wild to think about.
It really is. So, welcome to the deep dive, and welcome to the $40 billion youth sports economy. Today, our mission is shifting a bit. Today, we follow the money. And this week, man, there are a lot of press releases.
Oh, there are. I mean, we are looking at a massive stack of sudden announcements from some of the biggest organizations in American sports.
Yeah.
And if we want to understand why these institutions are, suddenly claiming to fix the youth sports system, we have to meticulously dismantle the financial engine that actually built it.
Exactly. So to get there, we are pulling from recent congressional testimony from Tom Ferry, F-A-R-R-E-Y, pronounced Fair-E. He's the executive director of the Aspen Institute's Sports and Society program. And alongside that, we're analyzing official City of Los Angeles press releases, the 2026 U.S. soccer pathway restructuring documents, and we're tracking the granular financial data across youth soccer blogs.
It is a really massive paper trail.
That's great.
But, once you synthesize it all together, it points to a very specific, a highly engineered economic structure.
Right, because if we just look at the sheer scale of this industry, I mean, it is staggering. We are talking about 3 million kids in organized youth soccer in the United States alone.
3 million, yeah.
And families are paying anywhere from $4,000 to $15,000 per child per year. So when you multiply that out across the whole ecosystem for you, the listener, you are looking at a $40 billion industry.
$40 billion. And what's really fascinating here is where that money actually goes. Because, spoiler alert, it doesn't stay at the grassroots level. If you follow the data, the money flows strictly upward. It goes to facility overhead, it goes to these massive administrative costs, and it goes to six-figure director salaries.
Right.
Meanwhile, the actual grassroots coaching, the people spending Tuesday and Thursday nights out on the field, actually developing the kids, that remains primarily unpaid volunteer labor.
Okay, let's unpack this. So municipalities are using taxpayer money to build fields, and parents are paying thousands of dollars in fees, but the people actually teaching the game are volunteers.
Exactly.
How exactly did a child's game, literally just a ball and a patch of grass, transform into a multi-billion-dollar luxury commodity? And this is really where that congressional testimony from Tom Ferry, F-A-R-R-E-Y, pronounced Fair-E, becomes incredibly illuminating.
Yeah, he introduces this concept that's used by municipalities and real estate developers. It's called heads in beds.
Heads in beds.
Right. It's a terminology that completely explains the sudden, explosive rise of these billion-dollar mega facilities that you see popping up everywhere.
Yeah, you drive past them all the time now.
Exactly. They aren't building these massive state-of-the-art complexes with 30 synthetic turf fields just for the local kids to play on a random Tuesday afternoon.
No, of course not.
They are building them specifically as magnets to draw out-of-town tournaments. Because out-of-town tournaments mean travel, and travel means hotel rooms.
Hold on, I want to make sure I'm getting this. That completely flips the entire idea of a public park on its head. It's essentially just an outdoor hotel lobby.
Precisely. That is exactly what it is. The municipality builds the mega facility, often with public bonds or, tax incentives, under the promise of driving tourism revenue.
Right, the economic impact argument.
Exactly. Then the facility partners with tournament operators, who in turn partner with these massive hotel chains.
And look, this isn't just a gentle suggestion to, stay at the local Marriott. We really need to slow down and look at the mechanics of what the industry calls stay-to-play policies.
Because it is rigorous.
It is a highly engineered digital net. Tournament organizers use specialized third-party software to actively track, mandate, and enforce hotel booking confirmations.
It's a completely closed loop. The tournament locks in with specific hotel chains. They block out hundreds of rooms at a premium rate, and they literally require teams to use them just to secure their spot in the tournament.
Right, so let's put a concrete example to this, because this is where it really hits home for you, the listener. Imagine a family traveling, say, 3 states over for a mandatory weekend showcase.
A huge deal for the kid.
Huge deal. Their kid has been training all year for this. Now, maybe they have an aunt who lives 20 minutes from the complex. Or, maybe they found a much cheaper Airbnb down the road to save a few $100s.
Because they're already paying so much.
Exactly. They are already stretched dangerously thin on registration fees, uniforms, and gas. So they try to opt out of the mandated $250 a night hotel. They bypass the tournament's portal, and they book on their own.
And what happens next is immediate, and it's entirely automated.
Right. The third-party software flags them. It is a literal API cross-reference. The team's official roster is digitally checked against the hotel's booking confirmation database.
They literally ping the database.
Yes. If that family's name isn't on the list for the approved hotel block, the software issues a red X next to the kid's name. The rule is absolute. Non-compliance means the child cannot play.
Wow.
They are scratched from the weekend roster. You either pay the premium to the specific hotel partner, or your kid sits on the bench while the team plays.
That is not an accident. That is architecture. The system is designed to capture, track, and monetize every possible touch point of that family's weekend.
And think about the total real cost of a single season for that family who just got flagged by the software.
It's unbelievable.
You've got the club registration, the mandatory brand gear, the travel, the enforced hotel stays we just talked about, the meals on the road, the time off work. It is an overwhelming financial and logistical burden. That's one family.
It's not just one family. The data says it's millions. And every single one of those families is funding a system that was not built for their child. It was built for their wallet.
Which raises a really important question for us. Is this just how youth sports have to work? Because, when we look globally, the financial incentives seem totally inverted.
Completely inverted.
Yeah.
If we look at the European mirror, they use a financial mechanism called fee for solidarity payments.
Okay, break that down for us.
It works like this. When a professional club trains a player from age 8 onward, and that player eventually signs a major professional contract or is transferred for a fee, the original youth club gets a percentage of that money.
Okay, so it's like a venture capital model for kids. The European clubs act like angel investors.
Exactly.
They scout kids in low-income neighborhoods and pour top-tier coaching and resources into them for absolutely free, knowing that if even 1 out of 100 becomes a global superstar, the payout funds the entire academy.
Exactly. The payday comes at the end of the development cycle, not from the parents at the very beginning. This creates a massive built-in financial incentive for clubs to cast the widest net possible. But the U.S. system historically lacked this enforcement.
Because we don't have promotion and relegation here.
Right. Without that threat and without those guaranteed enforced solidarity payments trickling down, U.S. professional clubs had zero financial incentive to invest in free, speculative youth development.
So the local youth clubs operated less like angel investors and more like landlords charging rent to parents from day one.
Or at least that's what the data showed until this week.
Right. Because to understand the massive shift we are seeing right now, we have to clearly identify the 3 distinct beneficiaries of this current U.S. closed economic loop.
Who is actually profiting here?
Exactly. First, you have the tournament industry. So that's the showcase operators, the travel partners, the hotel chains, and the software companies we just talked about.
Right.
Second, you have the suburban academy clubs, whose entire operational business models require a captive pay-to-play market just to keep the lights on and pay those director salaries.
Yep.
And third, the current system insiders, the families who can comfortably afford the fees, the players already getting minutes, and the parents sitting on the club boards who benefit from the exclusivity.
It's an ecosystem that fundamentally protects itself from outside competition. And we have to be clear here, that is not an accusation. That is what the financial data shows.
It's just rational market behavior based on the current financial incentives.
Exactly.
But, the massive profits in this closed-loop system became so obvious that it seemingly forced the hand of the actual governing bodies. They couldn't ignore the math anymore.
No, they really couldn't.
And that brings us to the wave of announcements this week. We're literally watching the institutions that built the problem suddenly announce the solutions.
Let's look at the press releases, starting with June 11th, 2026. The mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, alongside the U.S. Soccer Federation and LAUSD, announced a massive new partnership.
Right, and the sheer scale of this announcement is what caught our attention. We really need to look at what 400,000 students reached actually means at ground level.
Let's walk through it.
Picture a single public school classroom in Los Angeles. Picture a single PE teacher. Before this week, if a kid showed incredible athletic promise during gym class, That teacher had literally nothing to offer them but a flyer for a $3,000 suburban club team.
Which is just a dead end for most families.
A complete dead end. But now, that same teacher just went through the newly funded Soccer at Schools training. They now have the curriculum, the actual equipment, and the institutional mandate.
Right.
Now, picture a single kid in that class. A kid whose parents could never dream of paying thousands of dollars for club soccer. For the first time, that kid gets access to high-quality structured development during the school day.
During school hours.
Yes, without paying a dime. Plus, they're rolling out over 100 free Kick It in the Park events across the city to build on that.
It completely shatters that initial financial barrier to entry. And the messaging surrounding this from the organizers is very, very deliberate.
Yeah, what was that quote?
Lex Shalat, the executive director of the Soccer Forward Foundation, said, and I quote, "Los Angeles is not only a host city for the World Cup, but a model for how the sport can create lasting impact in communities for generations to come."
And it is not just LA doing this. Look at what is happening with Atlanta StationSoccer.
Oh, this is fascinating.
It really is. This is run by an organization called Soccer in the Streets, supported by the FIFA Foundation. I really want you to visualize this. Imagine a 10-year-old child living in a dense urban neighborhood in Atlanta.
Okay.
Both parents are working multiple jobs. There is no minivan available to drive 45 minutes out to some manicured suburban complex.
Right, transportation is huge.
Exactly. In the old system, that kid is priced out by geography alone. But now this kid can walk to the MARTA train station alone. They get on the subway. The transit system literally becomes the team bus.
It completely removes the barrier of transportation, which, in sprawling American cities is just as big a hurdle as the actual registration fee.
Exactly. They ride the train, they step off at the 5-point station right in the heart of the city and walk out. And there, built directly into the transit hub where there used to be nothing but, dead, unusable concrete space.
The decon course.
Yeah, exactly. Now there is a fully equipped, state-of-the-art 5v5 synthetic turf soccer field with professional stadium lighting. And it is completely free for kids during the day.
And the financial model making that possible is just brilliant. It's subsidized by adult recreational leagues that pay premium rental fees to use those same fields at night after the kids go home.
It's amazing.
It is a self-sustaining microeconomy built entirely outside the pay-to-play suburban club model.
But the announcements don't stop at just building facilities, do they? They are changing the very structure of how kids advance through the sport.
Yes, the May and June 2026 restructuring. So U.S. Soccer is stepping in and taking direct control of U.S. youth soccer. They're creating a unified 4-level system. The ECNL Conference League is officially merging all these competing regional leagues.
Let's break down the mechanics of that, because it's huge for families navigating this. Think of the old system like 50 different medieval fiefdoms, right? Each with their own kings and their own toll bridges.
That's a great way to put it.
That was the fragmented regional club system. By merging into the ECNL Conference League, U.S. Soccer is basically building an interstate highway. If you're a talented kid playing in a tiny, affordable district league, you now have a direct on-ramp to national scouts.
Without having to pay a $5,000 toll to a private academy just to be seen.
Exactly.
It creates a direct, merit-based pathway. And on top of that, they are finally fixing the calendar with the August 2026 age group reform.
Oh, this is a long time coming.
Right. They're shifting away from grouping kids by birth year. So January to December, and returning to the school year model, August 1st to July 31.
Which solves so many logistical nightmares for families.
It really does. It cures 2 massive systemic issues. First, the trapped player problem, where an 8th grader couldn't play with their club team because the rest of the team were 9th graders playing high school ball.
So they were just stuck.
Literally trapped without a team for months. And second, the relative age effect, where kids born late in the calendar year, like November or December, were systematically ignored or underdeveloped simply because they were months behind in physical maturity compared to kids born in January.
Right. So you look at all of this. School programs fully funded in Los Angeles, subway fields glowing under stadium lights in Atlanta, a unified national pathway acting as an interstate highway, and fixing the age groups to keep kids playing with their classmates.
When the system that built the problem announces it will fix the problem during the biggest sporting event on the planet, do you believe it?
That's one question.
It's not just one question, it's the only question that matters right now. And we don't have the answer yet.
Because there's one more factor we have to consider, and it is something we absolutely cannot ignore. If we go back to that congressional testimony from Tom Ferry F, A-R-R-E-Y, pronounced Fair-E,
Right.
he highlights a massive new player on the board, private equity. It is flooding into the youth sports space, aggressively chasing that $40 billion economy we talked about at the top of the deep dive.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where we really need to pause and think about the long game. Because private equity isn't doing this for charity.
No, definitely not.
What private equity firms do is they look for highly fragmented markets, which youth sports absolutely is, and they execute what's called a roll-up strategy.
Okay, a roll-up strategy.
Right. They don't just buy one local club. They buy the regional tournament software, they buy the billion-dollar mega facility, and they buy the elite club teams. They are building a vertical monopoly on the pathway.
So they own every step of the ladder.
Exactly.
Which casts a very different light on all these new announcements. Let's really game this out. Let's assume these new initiatives work perfectly. Let's assume the grassroots level is truly fixed.
Cool.
You have LAUSD schools and Atlanta subway stations providing massive free entry points for hundreds of thousands of kids.
Right. The base gets wider.
The base of the pyramid suddenly expands dramatically with kids who are developing real technical skills without paying a single dollar to play.
It sounds like a total victory on the surface.
Yeah.
But we have to look at the next step in that pathway.
Yeah.
What happens to these newly developed, highly talented kids once they are good enough to need the next level of training? Like when they turn 13 or 14 and they physically outgrow that subway station 5v5 field.
Right, they need an 11v11 field now.
They need elite coaching, travel experience, and high-performance development. Who owns that next level?
Well, the local rec leagues and public schools certainly don't have the funding or the infrastructure for that level of elite travel and development.
Exactly. Private equity does. They're currently buying up the elite clubs, the mega facilities, the tournament operators, and this is key, even the software companies that register the kids and track those hotel bookings.
Oh, wow.
So the provocative question we have to leave you with is this. Are these major institutions democratizing the grassroots level to save youth sports? Or are they simply widening the top of the funnel to create more inventory for a corporate machine?
That is heavy. Mull this over. What if democratizing the grassroots isn't actually an act of charity, but an act of outsourced research and development?
Outsourced R&D.
Exactly. By letting public schools, transit authorities, and the FIFA Foundation foot the bill for early development, private equity gets to swoop in at age 14, pluck the best talent, and monetize them at the elite level without having had to pay for their early years. Are we dismantling the pay-to-play system or just outsourcing its base?
That's what you have to mull over. Will the economic architecture, like the true flow of the money, actually allow these ground-level announcements to become reality? Or is the ultimate destination still just a cash register?
Next week, we go find them.